Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and members of Ballet International. We, Today we have a special guest. Her name is Mrs. Anna Wooster, and she lives in Italy, but I think originally she is from United Kingdom. And I'm very happy, very pleased to have you in this interview. And looking a little bit of your Facebook profile and of what we have said previously before the interview, I have discovered that you have been writing a beautiful book about ballet, about dance. So, could you kindly explain to our members, if in case you have been studying ballet in England, and then how from England you traveled to Russia, and what was your first experience as a student, and then for how long did you stay in Russia, who were your teachers, and did you feel a difference in the technique or also in the in the point of views of the two system, the English one, the Russian one, and you were at that time very young, so you had a wonderful experience matching the two techniques together. So I let you explain how did you discover all that, and then we approach to how what inspired you to write the beautiful book.
Yes. Well, you've asked me practically to explain in a few words what's in my book.
Yes.
Because my book is exactly about my adventure
Yes.
in going to Russia.
Yes.
It started in 1955 when I was 14. And I went for a youth festival in Poland. And while I was there, I asked permission to go and see rehearsals at the Ballet and Opera and Ballet Theatre in Warsaw. And Wojciechowski was the director of the ballet in Warsaw. And he asked me if I wanted to do company class with the dancers instead of watching. And of course, I was in seventh heaven and
Yes.
did classes with the company for the fortnight of the duration of the festival. And at the end of the fortnight, Wojciechowski asked me if I wanted to go and study there and join the ballet school in Warsaw. And I was very flattered, but said, no, I must go home. I've still got my GCEs to take, and I must talk to my parents and this sort of thing. And when I came home, my ballet teacher, who was Russian, she was, to me, she was Mrs. Hubbard,
Yes.
but she was Alexandrovna, her
name. Yes.
Russian name. And she said, if you want to go and study abroad, you should aim at the best. You should aim to go to Leningrad. And so that inspired me to look into the possibility of going to Russia.
Yes.
And it's a very long, intricate story how I actually managed to get there. But at the time, it was 1956, 57, and Nikita Khrushchev was head of the Soviet Union,
Yes.
and he was opening up. He was trying to make a, well, they called it the thaw.
Yes.
And the my father saw an article in the Times saying that this Bonnie thought that the exchange between students was the way to peace.
Yes.
And my father wrote to him and said, look, my daughter is a student and she would love to go and study ballet. Does this fall into your category of exchange?
Yeah.
And that started the ball rolling, that finally I got the possibility to have an audition at the Bolshoi school during the youth festival in Moscow in 1957.
Wow.
And so I went there and I took part in the ballet competition and whatever. And it was through that I got the possibility to go and study, not at the Bolshoi, but
Leningrad.
in Leningrad.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of rivalry between Leningrad and Moscow.
Yes.
And
But between the two cities or between the two ballet companies?
the two ballet companies.
Okay.
Also between the two cities, but mainly between the ones I came across was mainly
Yes.
in the because the Russians did all they could to
Yes.
make the Bolshoi the most important
Yes.
theatre in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And it had more sponsorization and
Yes.
more, but actually it had more political control.
Yes.
It had more political censorship than Leningrad. And Leningrad, of course, had the tradition. It had the Mariinsky tradition. And in ballet circles, it was always understood that
Yes.
the real heart of
Yes.
Russian ballet was in St. Petersburg.
Yes.
So I was very happy to go to Leningrad. I was much better off going to Leningrad than staying in Moscow.
And when you arrived in Leningrad, your first impact with different teachers, a different system, was it a bit difficult or did you feel at home suddenly?
I felt very welcome. The Russians were very curious. They were very interested to see this English girl that was mad enough to want to come. And my first audition, there were the two directors, the artistic director and the administrative director, and my teacher, Olga Jordan, who gave me the class. And all the other teachers came to watch the audition. And to be honest, the thing that really worried me was the rake of the floor. Because I'd never danced on a rake before. And it was catastrophic. I mean, everything was different because of the slope.
Yes.
And I think I got on all right at the bar, but in centre, doing a dage or doing pirouettes or whatever, or even the Grand Allegro, I sort of finished up under the grand piano because it was like running downhill.
Yeah. Yes, because the stage is not on a straight line; it's a little bit.
A little bit. It was sort of 4 degrees.
Yes, yes.
Which
so
is
it's a very difficult feeling when you do. Yes.
And I think the fact that all the studios, all the stages are with a rake.
Yes.
Has meant that you have to use your back in a very
specific
way, well-developed way.
Yes.
And you become much more sensitive to the differences of balance.
Yes.
It's I think it it's one of the reasons why you have the Vaganova back.
Yes.
Is holding up your back and
Yes, yes. It
controlling
makes you
it.
stronger back. Yes.
Yes, yes. And my teacher was Jordan. She was one of Vaganova's pupils,
Yes.
and she was she started in she graduated from the school in 1926, and she was at school in the very difficult years just after the revolution and after the Civil War. And although she wasn't gifted physically, she was the real example of Vaganova's system,
Yes.
Vaganova's method.
Yes.
Because even with a difficult body,
Yes.
she became a marvelous dancer.
Yes.
And whereas Simeonova or Ulanova or Asipienko or Bakova were all very gifted, gifted dancers, physically gifted, Olga Genikovna didn't have high extensions, she didn't have beautiful feet, she didn't have a long neck, but she became one of the greatest ballerinas of her age.
Yes.
With Judinskaya, and she created the role of Zarema in Fountains of Bachyssarai, and Jean in Flames of Paris.
Was she also a choreographer or just a teacher?
She did do choreography, but she never did a whole ballet.
So could you tell us about your teacher, Mrs. Jordan? What type of classes she was giving? Was she giving tough classes, or the technical standard? Was it like today that we see the students or the dancers of the Bolshoi or the Kirov? Today it's more choreographic steps, but at that time I think that the technique was more plain exercises at the bar, like the rond de jambe en l'air. They were full. I mean, it was a different type of classes. So what type of Mrs. Jordan of class was she giving to you?
Well, Jordan had a great ability to understand all the difficulties of each of her pupils, and she managed to bring out the good qualities and develop the good qualities of each of them. And of course, she took the class from the 6th year on. And when I was at school, there were 9 years before graduation. Now it's 8, but when I was there, it was 9 years. And so the sort of level of extensions, turnout, insteps were already developed. And Olga Genrikovna gave us, as a rule, a very short bar. It was just a bar to warm up. And then everything was done in center. In center, we repeated the whole bar, the whole bar exercises, and then little adage, and then grand adage, and then,
Yes.
allegro, and the difference, I think, that comes over with the beautiful videos that you see of classes at Mariinsky now, at the Vaganova Academy, is that these are videos of exams.
Yes.
And exams were almost like a performance.
Yes.
the whole bar was already ready, and it went forward without any interruptions.
Yes.
And both legs were used with changing directions, changing legs, changing everything. And that was for the exam, and it was the exams showed the whole syllabus.
Yes.
But a normal class, we would spend maximum 20 minutes at the bar. And the other great difference was or is the attention, the exploitation of high extensions.
Yes.
When I was there, you can see it on videos of Makarova, because Makarova, when I was there, was considered a ballerina with one of the highest extensions. But if you look at her extensions now, they're much lower than Zakharova or
Yes.
anybody. And the generation before Makarova, the legs were even lower. If you
Yes.
see Semyonova, she hardly gets above 90 degrees.
Yes.
And the attention wasn't so much on the height of the leg, but of the whole coordination of the position, the whole line of the arabesque or the attitude or écarté. This business
Does,
of twisting hips and getting the hips all ready to help you
yes.
get your leg up.
But does the technique of today has helped and to improve this high extension?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Do you think that the technique applied today at the Mariinsky and at the Bolshoi helps dancers to improve this high extension of legs?
Well, I visited the academy in 2005, and the building has been renovated. And one of the things that I noticed, that in the corridors were very wide, and there were various sort of allargamenti, sort of saloons or rest corners, rest rooms
Yes.
for the pupils, with divans and armchairs and things like that. And all the pupils there were stretching. They were sitting in the splits, or even more than the splits, and there was a terrific attention to stretching and to
Before class.
before class, during class, after class. It was there all the time. I didn't see much in the way of stretching during the class.
Yes.
It was something that they'd either done in their earlier years.
Yes.
And of course they have a terrific selection.
Yes.
In all children come from all over Russia to get into the school, and they even have lessons, courses for children who want to go for the audition.
Yes.
And there they were torturing them.
Yes.
They were torturing them. There were things that I, as a teacher now, would never force on a child.
Yes.
But they take children. They take children that have already got everything.
Yes. Yes. Well, they take the ones who are able to follow this kind of discipline, this kind of technique that is developed with the ears, and the one who physically are not able to follow that, they are put aside.
Yes.
because
Yes.
I'm not going to waste the time to teach all those things. I mean,
Yes.
which
Well,
is quite comprehensible, I think.
yes. When I was there, children were taken in the first year when they were 9,
Yes,
and um, they could be sent away. They could be expelled
yes,
up until the 6th year, so
mm,
up until the end of the 5th year. After the
yes,
5th year, if they got into the 6th class,
yes,
then they weren't expelled,
mm,
and they were assured to,
yes,
to go ahead and become professional dancers. And this was because up until the 5th year, the children were following the academic curriculum
yes,
of the Soviet Union.
yes.
And
I think that my picture has got a problem again. I'm not
yes,
moving. I don't see my face. Never mind. The important is you, so we continue with you. As long
okay,
as as long as your face doesn't, stop moving,
doesn't freeze.
yes, and then we continue like that because my face has no importance. The important is you now. It's your interview.
Okay.
Otherwise, we will be stuck again, and we have to wait
Yes,
another
yes,
day.
yes, yes.
Right. So we were talking about the classes. Mm,
Yes, yes. After the 6th class, the academic curriculum changed,
yes,
and courses for history of ballet, history of music, history of theatre,
yes,
of course, political history. That was on every
yes,
school. Um, so the children who stayed on at the academy had this specialized curriculum,
yes,
and they were guaranteed to have the last 3 years to the 9th class and graduate as ballet
yes,
artists.
yes. And what do you think now about the Royal Ballet in United Kingdom? Is there any great difference in the teaching between the Royal Ballet and the Russian style?
I must admit, I know very little about the Royal Ballet.
Yes,
I um, um, I met Ninette de Valois
yes,
and the company when they came to Leningrad
yes,
in 1961. That was
yes,
the year that I graduated, and that was the first time that the whole ballet, the whole
yes,
company,
yes,
came to Leningrad. And I met de Valois, and she saw me and told me to get in touch with her when
yes,
I got back to England, which
yes.
I did. And she said if I wanted to join the Royal Ballet, I had to go back to her school for a year to absorb the English style. And I said I'd spent 4 years in Russia getting Vaganova style,
Yes,
and I didn't want to change it.
yes.
And with the same breath, she said um, she would like me to go and teach at White Lodge.
Yes.
And I said, I was 20. I said, no, I want to dance. I don't want to teach.
Yes.
And that was the end of my contact with the Royal Ballet. And the day after, I got into festival ballet and started dancing. But
So, uh, how many years did you spend more time in Russia or in England with your dance career?
well, I spent actually it was about the same because I spent four academic years in Russia,
Yes.
and I spent 4 years dancing in England. I
Yes.
danced in Festival Ballet, Ballet Rambert,
Yes.
and Walter Gore's
Yes.
Ballet, London Ballet. And then I met my husband in Italy,
Yes.
and I was 4 months at La Scala.
Yes.
And then I decided that the companies and the atmosphere and the attitude
Yes.
was not what I had been prepared for.
Yes.
And that was when I decided to give up ballet as a ballet dancer, as a professional, and started teaching.
Yes. And now you live in Milan? You work in Milan?
No. I live on Lake Garda
Ah, okay.
in a cultural backwater.
Yo.
In a cultural backwater, but it has the advantages. It has the advantage that I can, or I could always teach what
Yes.
I wanted and how I wanted.
Yes. Is your teaching more Vaganova, or is your teaching more Royal Ballet?
No, definitely Vaganova.
Vaganova.
Definitely Vaganova.
Yes.
I did a university degree with the Royal Academy of Dancing.
Yes.
Or it was a BA on dance education,
Yes.
dance in education,
Yes.
and that's the most contact I've had with the Royal Academy of Dancing too.
Yes.
Although
Yes.
I did up to advanced standard before I
Yes.
went to Russia
Yes.
with my teacher in Cambridge.
Yes.
But my teaching is definitely based on Vaganova's
Yeah.
method.
And you have never taught in England?
Um, no, no,
Mm.
no. I've well, I taught a little bit when I was in the company,
Yes.
and I taught a little bit when I was in Leningrad too.
Yes.
When Olga Gendrikhovna Jordan was sick, and she was often indisposed. I used to take her younger class,
Yes.
and also I sort of directed our class when we hadn't got
Yeah.
our proper
So
teacher.
you have kept the most beautiful memories of the Leningrad Ballet Academy, I think, because
Yes,
when you arrived there, Agrippina Vaganova was there's nearly only a few years when she died,
yes,
and you arrived a few years after. I mean,
yes,
you had all the heritage of Vaganova.
yes, yes, yes,
So this is the most beautiful part of your life that you had.
yes, definitely.
So in your book that you have been writing, is all that you have said in the interview written?
Yes. The bit about even the chapters are there are 11 chapters, and they are all about my training at the school.
Yes.
And then there's a epilogue,
Yes.
which just sort of closes up the story and
Yes.
says how I finished up in Italy.
And so we can find your the book on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay.
And
No,
that's
that's like that. Perfect. The English Girl in Leningrad.
yes.
That's nice. So I would like to buy this book, I will try to buy this book and I will
Yes.
read it because I'm very curious and there is a lot to learn from you. And I do hope that our members will also have a clear idea and a wonderful idea, a picture of how you started learning and absorbing all the real roots of Vaganova Academy. You
Yes.
know, because when we talk to young people today and we talk about Vaganova, they stare at you, but you talk like if you are talking about describing old history. But
Uh,
people like you that you have been within the headquarters of the academies, it's different because you have personally been living and looking to different things that in Europe we see.
yes. Yes.
You had a great chance, and this is why your book must be very interesting to read. And also, I think that the interview that you have kindly given to me today is really precious and primordial, not only to the members of Ballet International, but also to all the dancers who are following this interview. Because this interview is going to be on Vimeo, and I will try also, not now, but maybe later, to put it on YouTube
Mm.
and will also be published in the Ballet International main wall page in order that everyone may have a good idea of what you have been saying. What you have been giving today is just a tiny little bit of what we read in other books about Vaganova. But the tiny bit that you have been giving today is precious like gold
Mm.
because your words are very uplifting and give too much hope to the young generation.
Well,
So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that even if we still have technical problems with Skype, unfortunately, but I'm happy that this has been recorded.
mm.
And what is your wish to the young generation of tomorrow for ballet?
That's a big question. That's a big question. Um, I must say, I'm glad I lived when I lived, and um, I have, I, well, I've been teaching for 55 years now, and the a number of my pupils have gone on to do to do dance professionally, not all classical dance, but in certain forms
Yes.
of theatre, and particularly in Italy, but I think everywhere the situation is very, very difficult.
Yes.
And what I try to install in my pupils is not false hopes that they're going to become Carla Fracci or
Yes. Yes.
Svetlana, whatever, but that they understand the beauty
Yes.
of ballet and the discipline of studying ballet that really helps you live.
Yes.
It helps you make the right choices,
Yes.
and it and I just wish them that they manage to find the truth behind it. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry that.
Well, in ballet there are positive things, but there are also a lot of disappointments, and you have to fight. especially young people today have to fight very much to find the right position, the right way to succeed in ballet. I don't know if modern life today helps the dancers to succeed so easily.
Yes. Yes, I think one of the things that was very difficult for me was coming back from the Soviet Union into the dance situation in 1961, which
Yes,
was I came back together with Nureyev.
yes,
He um, escaped from at the same time as I graduated,
yes,
and the enormous difference that Nureyev made to the
yes,
European scene
yes,
hadn't taken place.
yes,
And I felt very much out of place
yes,
when I came back to England. The whole attitude towards what ballet was. In
yes,
Russia, it was something important. It was something to be proud of. It was something that was useful. And it was
yes,
your duty to serve it.
yes,
And when I came back to England, it was almost as though, well, you're allowed to do it. You can enjoy doing it. It was entertainment. It was,
yes,
but it was nothing impelling about it.
yes. I
And
understand. Yes,
the attitude of some of my colleagues in the companies was when getting towards the end of the season, stop doing
yes,
class.
yes,
So next week we're on holiday, which was
yes,
something completely foreign to me. It wasn't. I didn't go to class because I was forced to go to class. I went to class because I wanted to go to class.
Did you ever work with Margot Fontaine?
I met Fontaine. I met
Yes.
Fontaine a couple of times, but I never worked with her. No,
Oh.
unfortunately,
And with Frederick Ashton?
neither. No.
No.
No,
So,
no. All my contacts were with people in Russia, with
yes,
Grigorovich, with Belsky, with Vinogradov,
yes, yes,
Sergeyev.
yes. So, did you ever met Messerer, Asaf Messerer?
No, no, I didn't meet him either because he was in Moscow.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, you had the chance to meet Grigorovich because Grigorovich is a great man.
Yes, well, he was still a dancer in the Kirov when I was there, and
Yes,
he'd done his first choreographies in
yes,
for the Kirov.
yes. Do you think that if you have been staying in Russia instead of a few years, and if you have stayed more, much more, they would have given you the possibility to teach there or to choreograph something for the school or for the ballet company?
Well, when I'd finished with um, Walter Gore's company, when
Yes,
Walter Gore's company disbanded, I'd had an offer to go back to Leningrad to join the Mali Theatre,
yes,
which was going to be under the leadership of Belsky.
yes,
And Belsky had come and watched our class and said that he would be
yes,
happy to have me.
yes,
And um, I think there was a great movement for more modern choreography
yes,
at that time with
yes,
Grigorovich and Belsky and Vinogradov and
yes,
others.
yes.
And um, while I was still at school, my teacher had encouraged me to do a little bit of choreography for her younger pupils.
Yes.
and she'd encouraged me to teach.
Yes.
And in Russia, there was the possibility to go to university and do a course for teachers.
Yes.
And I think if I had gone back to Russia
Yes.
in 64, instead of getting married, I might have done that course and might have, I
Yes.
think, finished
So
the course very quickly.
do you speak Russian or just a few words? You speak
Yes, oh,
Russian or?
I did all my studies in Russian.
Oh, good.
I got my diploma and did Russian literature, Russian grammar, Russian history, history of ballet, history of theater, history of music.
So you speak and you read, you write
Yes,
English, Italian, and Russian,
yes, and English and French.
and also French. Wow,
French is
bravo.
a bit scholastic, let's say.
So, Mrs. Anna Wooster, I thank you very much, really,
And it,
for participating to this interview. Please accept my apologies for all the technical problems that we had, but you are not the only person because I had the same problems that I will try to fix that in the future with other people also.
yes,
So unfortunately, Skype is very good from one hand, but it makes a lot of troubles from the other.
yes.
So at least we started our pas de deux yesterday, and now we arrived to the coda, but my solo variation didn't came up very well.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for inviting me and for interviewing me. It's been very, very enjoyable.
Okay, one little thing.
Mm.
What would you like to say to the Ballet International members as last message uh, about ballet, about the group? What do you think about the group?
Well, I think the group is a wonderful organization, a wonderful idea, and I think it's one of the characteristics is that it's very approachable. It's
Yes,
very easy to get in touch. It's very easy to to hear about other people and see other
yes,
things.
yes.
Whereas on so many things, I don't know. I'm not particularly good with electronics. Um, with YouTube or Instagram or other things, I get in a terrible muddle and lose
Yes,
patience. And
yes,
here I've found things very, very punctual and very easy and very user friendly. That's the word.
One last question. Do you think you would like to write a second book about a little bit of technique of the exercises and the syllabus that you have learned and you are teaching now with the Vaganova? Do you think it would
Well,
be a good idea if you could write a second book about this?
I'm thinking of writing a second book because a lot of my pupils here in Italy
Yes,
have um, have asked me to write about my experience teaching here,
yes,
and that could include a part of how I've adapted
yes,
Vaganova's system to
yes,
non-professional students,
yes,
because I'm absolutely convinced that um, Vaganova's method is um, is very suitable for people who aren't perfectly gifted for classical ballet.
yes.
It it's a method that teaches you to make use of all your abilities.
Yes, yes, I agree. I totally agree with you.
instead of insisting on opening your feet at 180 degrees,
Yes.
um, it makes you understand how you must have your weight correctly on your feet,
Yes.
not just at 180 degrees.
Yes, I
So,
agree. I agree. Yes.
and when you're in center, nobody can do it at 180 degrees anyway. And when you're
Yes.
dancing, you can't see that. But
No.
if you're using your feet correctly,
Yeah.
then you can learn to do all the technical feats.
Yes. I agree. I totally agree with you. Yes.
And I've had pupils who really had big difficulties. One
Yes.
just with turnout. And
Yes.
I remember once we had a summer course, and I had a Russian teacher come to teach them.
Yes.
And I said to her, "Don't look at this girl at the bar because she's terrible, but look at her in center because she can dance."
Yes.
And that was a perfect example, because
Yes.
she could do grand fouetté en tournant, she could do fouetté, she could do grand jeté en tournant, all the technical feats of Gabrielle and everything,
Yes. Yes.
but she wasn't turned out. But
Yes. Yes.
she was using all the turnout that she could, and in
Yes.
center it really didn't matter.
Yes, yes, I understand, and I agree with you because people today are too demanding about the turnout and the flexibility, but sometimes you have also the category of students that are not flexible and they are not open with the back, and they can't bring the leg so higher than 90 degrees. But
Yeah.
they dance beautifully, and like you say, they know how to stand on their feet in the center. And I think this is the concept of ballet.
Yes, yes. And the distinctive factor with Vaganova is the back and the arms and
Yes,
the use of the arms and the use of the whole body. That,
yes,
that you don't do any step which
yes,
doesn't involve the whole body.
yes,
And this is something that I insist on, even with children. And
yes, yes,
epaulement is an integral part of
yes.
dancing, that you can't sort of spread it like Nutella on the afterwards. It has
Yeah.
to be in the movement.
Yes, yes. It has, you have to feel it inside the body.
Yes, yes, and that comes from with children of 5 or 6. Using once they put their feet in third position, then they use their epaulement, the shoulder of the working leg.
Yes, yes. And well, I had a question that I now I forgot, but never mind. I don't want to ask too many questions because otherwise our interview will be too long also for the
Yes.
members. So, Mrs. Anna Wooster, once again, thank you for your
Well, thank you.
precious interview. And whenever you wish to make a second interview one day about other matters about ballet, always about ballet, you are always welcome.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
thank you very much.
And when you've read my book, I would very much like to hear your comments on it.
I will write you back as soon as I will buy it, and I will read it. And I'm getting I'm very curious. And as soon as I do that, it will take about a month. But I will contact you again. I will give you my idea about your book. But I'm
Right.
sure that what you have said already in the interview, if it's well illustrated in your book, I mean, it's very precious for everyone. But I highly recommend the members to go on Amazon and to buy your book. because your testimonial about your experience is precious, not only to people of our generation, but especially to the youngest one.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.